after high school, I went to college because that's just what you do. But after a couple years, I realized that I wasn't really doing what I wanted to do. So I dropped out. And then that kicked off this like 10-year period in my life where I was just trying to figure things out. But every year, I just kept changing careers and changing creative focuses and all this stuff. And it was like every year, I just kept falling farther and farther and farther and farther behind. And it was frustrating because I couldn't figure out like how to be successful. I was looking at all of these like linear people who were just taking like the corporate track and they seemed to be, like making progress in life. I don't know. They were like having a career and making money and buying houses and having kids. And it was like, I didn't really want that, but I also couldn't figure out how to like get my version of success. And so eventually, after all of this, like figuring myself out, and when was it? It was the beginning of 2021. I started my YouTube channel and I blew up. And so like this was the first time in my life where I'd actually managed to have some sort of like success. However, I quickly realized that because I had wasted so much time, like these 10 years on not YouTubing, I was behind in life. And the normal perspective that people have on being behind in life, at least in the self-help community, is that it's all about your mindset. Like you should not focus on how far you are behind in life. You should like gratitude journal and like appreciate where you are. And that is totally true. However, there is a completely other side. There's a whole other side to this thing of being behind in life. And it's the practical side. And the problem with being behind in life is also the problem of like being in poverty, because as they say, it's like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. So when you are behind in life, you have all of these problems. For example, because I had not been making money for 10 years, I was still sort of stranded where I am now, living at my mom's house. And this on the surface seems like, okay, well, just accept it and it is what it is. However, it creates problems. Like it's very difficult to focus on creative work when you have someone that is like vacuuming and asking you to do chores and like you just don't have your own space. It's hard to concentrate. So I realized that there was all of these catch-22s in my life that were just dragging me down and making it very difficult. Like even if I accept my situation of where I am, like these things are constantly draining me. So you feel like you're stuck in this state of being behind in life and there are too many things pulling you down. It's like I talk about in my van plan video, it's like being inside this gravitational field and you need this spaceship that's like out on the moon and you can't get to the spaceship because you need the spaceship to get to the spaceship. God, it's just a nightmare. And anyone who feels behind in life probably knows exactly what I'm talking about. So what do you do about it? In my van plan video, I talk about how I had this realization that I essentially have to work really hard for 1 year to fix all of these problems in my life so that they're not constantly dragging me down. And when I posted the video, people like the number one comment I got was that people thought I should just do one thing at a time. For example, I have 12 challenges and they are food, room, music, filmmaking, coding, drawing, writing, routine, woodworking, hiking, conversation, and dating. So everyone was like, oh, well, why don't you just focus on one of these things? Like you're young, like you could spend the next 10 years focusing on one of these things. But each of these things are problems in my life every day. And it's like, I can't ignore them because they're like practical problems. For example, the first challenge is food. And I like can't just ignore the problem that I didn't have my diet figured out, Like every day I was struggling with still like 20 to 30% brain fog and I was feeling tired and my digestion wasn't always good. So like I had to figure that out, right? So I did, I spent the first like month and a half figuring out my diet and I got onto raw vegan and now everything is working really well. So I got that fixed. But yeah, the next one, room, like where I'm living right now, the catch-22 about that is like I have this goal of wanting to move into a van. And So there are problems with my room, but I don't really want to invest more time, money, and energy into my room, because then I would be taking time, money, and energy away from like putting it into the van, you know? Like, I don't know, I have this blank space above my computer that just looks weird. Like there should be something there. And I don't know, I want to like make a nice like pair of shelves with some like plants on them or something, you know? But at the same time, I don't want to waste money like investing in this space that I don't really want to be living in. So there's the catch-22 of that. Music. This also is a thing that would seem really superfluous. Like I use stock music in my videos and most people would say, oh, well, like that's fine, right? Just like live with stock music. You don't need to learn how to make beats right now. However, it is really hard to find good stock music. I subscribe to a site called Artlist, and most times they don't have the song that I need for a video. Like it doesn't fit the vibe. And so I like, even if I do find a song, I have to spend like more than an hour searching for it. And then sometimes I even have to subscribe to another stock music site, and it just sucks because the song that I come up with in the end, it doesn't really feel like me. I've got these branded like unique videos, and then I've got this stock music. So that's another frustration. The other frustration about it is that music for me is so emotional, like more than anything else. And I feel like I've been in this place for the last 3 years or more where I haven't written any music at all, you know? And it feels like this giant, like gaping hole in my life where my videos don't have the vibe that I want. Like they don't really have any emotional tone at all, other than just kind of like generic, happy and excited. So this is a major frustration for me. So yeah, I know. So the music, it's important. And I'm really hoping that like in a month, I can just come up with at least some basic beats just to get like a basic vibe, you know, in my video. I don't want to learn how to do, and you know, like everything about music in a month, but I just want to get to a place where I'm good enough to not be dragged down by the lack of vibe. So that's the third catch-22. The fourth catch-22 is filmmaking. And a lot of people would look at my videos and like some of them have hundreds of thousands of views and they're like, oh, your filmmaking is fine. But there are all these little problems in my process. Like I haven't learned how to properly color grade. So all of the time in my videos, the colors are just like weird, you know, like the exposure has not been done right. The colors are off balance and it annoys me. Like I can't ignore it. Like even if I'm okay with it, from like an emotional place, like practically speaking, it's really annoying to me that my videos don't look right. And I don't know, they're just all sorts of things that I need to fix with my process. Oh, God. And yeah, just also, I think understanding filmmaking more will help me make more money so that I can buy the van. You know, like if I keep making the same filmmaking mistakes over and over again that are turning people off or not turning enough people on, like it is affecting my income, which is affecting the speed at which I can get the van. So yeah, that's number 4. Number 5 is coding. Another thing which people are like, you know, why do you want to focus on coding when you have all of these other things to do? And it's because I have this site called Barefootwear, which is another thing that has a massive potential to make me money so that I can get the van faster. And I list all of these little like shoe products, you know, and so people click on the links and then I get paid. So it's like, it's also a really relaxing way to make money because once you set it up, you don't have to be like making content all of the time. Like it's just there. People click on the links, you know, they can find the shoes that they want and then I make money. So yeah, so there's another one. And then number 6 and number 7 go together because they're drawing and writing. And again, it's like people see my comics that I do in my videos and they see the words that I'm putting out in my videos and they think like, oh, you're perfectly fine at drawing and writing. Why would you want to focus on that? But I haven't done anything for fun, like hardly at all in years. And I have this goal of wanting to draw or either write or maybe make a graphic novel of a sci-fi book. And it's yet another goal that would seem superfluous. However, I have felt really lonely over the past probably 10 years. I mean, first of all, because like everything is moving into the metaverse, it's becoming harder and harder to connect with people, to find friends who you relate to. And so there's just been this like lack of emotion in my life. And so I just feel like I really want to start writing and drawing again as a way to like connect with people in times when I can't find any people to connect with. You know what I mean? Like, I feel it's the ultimate introvert dream, right? To be able to create your own characters. Like I look at someone like J.K. Rowling, who created this entire universe for herself to live in, and it just feels so good because you're not relying on people. It's not like you just because you have this universe that you create that you never connect with anyone else, but it's sort of like home base, like you always have this thing that you can go to even when you don't have the external stuff that you need. So yeah, I feel like my imagination for like fun and personal fulfillment, like not work stuff, has been extremely lacking. And it's one of those things where I haven't written or drawn anything really for 10 years. And if I don't start now, it's like maybe I'll never start. Maybe I'll get run over by a train and I'll have never started my cyberpunk sci-fi book. So yeah, I mean, those are another catch-22 about writing and drawing is that I'm also full-time YouTubing. So it's the frustration of like not having enough energy to do all of these things that you need. I feel like a sim. For anyone who played the game, The Sims, you basically control this little digital person, and it's funny because they have all of their like needs in these little bars. So like if they have to pee, like their pee bar is like full. If they haven't connected with enough people, their like social bar is really low and it's red, and then they start acting like angry and sad and everything. And I feel like with writing and drawing, I'm like a sim, and my creativity imagination bar is like it's zero, at least for fun stuff. And so it's like I'm so far behind in that I can't ignore it. I feel like that's the same thing with all of the challenges that I planned for this year. Is it's like it's not just things that I want to accomplish, but it's areas in my life that I've fallen like so far behind like where I want to be that I can't even ignore it anymore. I'm like in the red on all of these things. And, like food, I definitely solved that challenge. I'm on a diet that I'm really happy with. So it's not this thing where I have goals that are unrealistic or like I'm never going to be satisfied. Like I'm totally satisfied. Like I checked the food challenge off. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that I made the right choice, even though it seems like insane, all of these things I'm doing to catch up and not be behind in life. So anyways, moving on to my daily routine. That's actually not a catch-22. I basically already solved that. So I think that's going to be the next video that I make in my van plan series, because I need to catch up from all the time that I but all the time that I spent on my food challenge. So I'll be able to get that one done in maybe like a week or so, which will feel nice. So no catch-22 there. That's all good. Woodworking, the catch-22 about that is that in order to learn woodworking, I need some help from my dad, who is a really, really good woodworker. However, my dad is someone who's also struggled with being behind in life as a creative person, because when he was growing up, he didn't have access to YouTube or coaches or anything, any of the like resources for entrepreneurs that I had. And so he really struggled starting a business, like not being able to charge enough, like not knowing how to market himself. And so he just ended up working at, like a typical like corporate woodworking job for a lot of his life, and still like doing hobby stuff on the side. But anyways, like a lot of creative people, he wasn't able to make enough money or as much money as he wanted to. And so now like he has a house that he really enjoys and everything, but he has this woodworking space that is like too small for what he needs, and I can tell he's really frustrated a lot of the time because it's tough to organize space when you don't have enough space to work. And so the catch-22 about it is like, I want to make more money so that I can help my dad like expand his woodworking space so that, he's not cramped all the time. And I would feel, I don't know, I would feel bad like asking to take up more of his space to have him help me or like teach me how to like do woodworking. So that's the frustration on that one, is like I need money in order to help my dad, but I can't like live in the van unless I learn some woodworking. So yeah, yet another frustrating catch-22, but I am earning more and more money. So yeah, I feel like at least if I didn't have enough money to help my dad have like more of to like expand his woodworking space, like at least I would have money to like pay him to like help me learn woodworking. And I think I would feel better about it in that way. So yeah, just continuing to grind all year long and I mean, making money is definitely the most important thing of catching up for me this year. Moving on, number 10, hiking, exploring the best local trails. The catch-22 about this is that I don't have a car anymore because my car rusted out last year and I just got rid of it because I was sick of like paying all this money for this like old car that was just, it was draining my bank account. So the problem is that like with my barefoot videos, I basically have to shoot in the same places over and over and over and over again because I don't have a car to drive to trails. And that is really frustrating. So I don't know. I'll probably have to get my mom to help me out with that one. And when you're behind in life, sometimes you just have to ask for help. It like sucks. I don't really like being dependent on someone else for basic necessities, but I've just learned that like sometimes when you get so far behind in life, like you're never gonna catch up unless you get some help from someone else, So that is what it is. Number 11 is conversation, interviewing creative people. Again, like people are like, oh, why would you like start a podcast when you should be focusing on, barefoot shoes and like making as much money as possible so you can get the van. I'm like, well, because I'm lonely. Like I need to talk to people. I've just been sitting in this room for, God, like seven years, making content, trying to figure out how to make money, like trying all these different careers. And like, I am a robot to the extent that I can work a lot harder than most people. And I'm also a cactus in that I can survive with less social contact than most people. But again, it's like another area in my life where I'm just in the red, like I'm just like, I'm lonely. I'm just like lacking conversation and like talking about interesting ideas with other people. I like talking to myself, but it gets really tiring. So I want to do that. Yeah. And then number 12, dating. This is probably the one that is dragging me down the most out of everything, is just like the lack of like physical and emotional connection and intimacy. Like it's an area of my life that is so in the red that it like almost physically hurts, and it stresses you out too, I think, to have no emotional or physical connection with people. Like the last time I went on a date with someone was, I think it was during COVID, so it was like two years ago. And then the last time I was in a relationship was in high school, so that's like 15 years ago. It's like, and then the last time I hooked up with anyone was in college, so that was about 10 years ago. And like, I think a lot of people wouldn't even be able to like contemplate going that long without any kind of like relationship, or, you know, like even hooking up with someone. And so, yeah, again, like an area of my life that is just painfully in the red. And the catch-22 on this one is like, it's yet another thing where like a relationship takes so much energy and time and money potentially too. And it's like, how do I make space in my life for this thing, which is so clearly important to me, but which I don't have the time, money, or energy for? Yeah, it really sucks. I'm rereading one of my favorite books right now, which is The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. And I read this line last night where there are these characters named Rourke and Dominique who have this sort of like non-typical, very intense love affair. And Dominique is, or at least the narrator, Ayn Rand, is narrating how they're like sitting in bed, and Rourke has his hand on Dominique's back, and she thinks that it's almost as if her entire body has died, and like the only part of her that's alive is like the part of her where her back is touching his hand. And I'm like, God, oh my God. Yeah. It's I don't know. I don't even have words for it, but to feel the lack of that, it's like crushing sometimes. I think, you know, it feels like this whole part of you is like it's like dormant or something, is like frozen, because there's nothing for it to like do what it's supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like this whole part of me that is supposed to be like feeling love and intimacy and whatever has just sort of like gone into sleep mode, because like I don't have the time, money, or energy to find people to like date, you know, because that in itself takes a lot of time. So anyways, I mean, probably the other catch-22 is just like that I don't have my own space. So it's like, I don't know. And there are so many things about me that are like strange and unusual, and it's like, it's a big ask. I think I might be undateable. I don't know, because I'm so different than a lot of people, like just with the barefoot shoes and like psychedelics, and I like climb trees, and I have this YouTube channel, and I don't know, just like so many things. So it's, and then I'm living at home. So it's like asking a human being to like put up with all of that. It's a lot. And I think like it's going to take a huge amount of energy for me to figure out how to like configure myself into a attractive marketing package for someone. But it's got to be done, because like I'm lonely, and I think it's true that for a lot of creative people, like a relationship or an obsession with someone, a romantic obsession, can be like a muse. You know, it can unlock this whole other form of energy that you don't get from just like the analytical and the basic creative stuff. So yeah, another area of my life that I have to figure out. And the really interesting thing about that one is that like I've had this mystery joint pain for the past like 3 years, and you know, I've tried everything, and I'm making like gradual progress, like very gradual. But part of me wonders if this is just like a mind body issue of me like not having any physical connection, you know? Because there's the whole thing of what is it called? Reiki, the healing art. It's like massage, but it's like energy related. And there's some research to show that when people have like severe injuries and stuff, when they have like someone do energy work on their body, that it's actually really effective. So part of me wonders if it's just like loneliness, like physical loneliness that is a major driver of joint pain. So I don't know, but it's difficult. Like I can't figure out whether or not that's true because I'm not in a place right now in my life where I have any like time, money, energy, or space to like date someone and get into a you know, I mean, there are lots of places where I could get physical contact. Obviously, like I could go get a massage, or I could just like date the first person that I swipe right on a dating app. But I think part of it is not just the actual physical touch, it's the connection, you know, it's the sense of like this person that you connect deeply with emotionally, you know, it's like that feeling. And I don't think that I'm really going to get that from like a massage therapist or, you know, yeah, or from like a random Tinder date. I think I'm only going to get it from someone who I generally have a connection with. And yeah. Man, this was a long one, a long ranty talk. So if you're still here, like congratulations. But all of it is to say that it is really hard to get out of being behind in life, just as hard as it is to get out of poverty. You know, it's like existential poverty, being behind in life. And I think the only solution really is to figure out the point at which you are not going to be behind in life anymore. I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about solving every single problem you have, but there is probably some marker in your life where it's like, if you get to that point, then things will be okay. Like maybe not like perfect, not everything you want, but like above a certain threshold where you're like no longer behind, you know, like you're right where you should be in life. And for me, that's owning a van, because there's nothing more important to me than having my own space. Like I am so exhausted from living in someone else's house, you know, for like 7 years. It's one of those big existential milestones that it's like so simple, but it would mean everything to you. And so really the only way to like get yourself out of being behind in life, I think, is to just like figure out what that milestone is and then throw absolutely everything, every possible ounce of energy you have into solving it. And probably like a year would be a good, I mean, I guess it depends on your milestone, but for me, like I need a short amount of time to focus on the goal, and also so that my body knows like I'm not going to burn myself out by working continuously for year after year after year and never getting to the goal, you know? Like I am working I am working harder than I should, than is sustainable for me to continue working. But I know that I can sustain it for a year. And after that point, I will have finally become caught up in life. And there are other things that I want to accomplish, obviously, but that's the main thing. And I think it'll feel really good. So yeah, I don't know. Like what's your milestone? Let me know. And hopefully we'll both get there.